Danny Flexent here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former world champion Scott Quigg. Scott, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, pal. All going well as can be under the certain circumstances at the minute, but all good.
You obviously, before you retired, were known for absolutely dedicating everything you had to boxing, training really hard every day. Not only have you now retired, but obviously with COVID and everything, it's very limiting in terms of what you can do. Have you coped all right with that, having to stay at home quite a lot?
Yeah, in a way, because obviously the way I lived my life is all I did was box and was so dedicated, and so it's not been like difficult as in I've been stuck for things to do as in because all I used to do is train, and that was basically my life really. I'm fortunate. I have a gym in the garden. Now without that, I probably would have been doing climbing the walls and that. So
literally,
other than training in the garden and going for walks and with the dogs and stuff like that, that's what's kept me sane. But I can understand why a lot of people are finding it difficult. But like I say, I'm fortunate. The way I've lived my life over the years has actually done me some help during all this time.
Yeah, you're kind of used to being bored, if you like. I think you said that to me once, that you have, as a boxer, you have to get used to being bored.
Yeah, I was always. I mean, there were many times over the years that I was bored. You know, there's only so much you do training, and then you see everyone else going out, you know, with the mates, and boredom's just something that I always used to say. Boredom is what is the cause of why you go down doing the wrong things. Do you know, whether that doesn't mean things that you shouldn't be doing. I mean, do you know, going out with your mates, going out drinking, because when you sat at home and you know you've got to be resting or you've got to be putting your time into something else, sometimes it can be boring. And when it gets boring, that's when, I might just go out with my mates, and because you think it's not going to cause any effect and it's not going to be a big deal, but when them days mount up, the amount of time that you don't like solely once, that once ends up becoming time after time after time, and all that time that's built up, when you think about it, you probably could work out within over how many days you do it, a 6-month period. What about if you was in the gym for an extra 6-month period?
Yeah.
So using that time. But don't get me wrong, I took things to the extreme, and the way I lived wouldn't necessarily make other people happy. And it also, there's a point that I always make, and I always stress to people that if doesn't matter, I trained this way and dedicated myself this way because this is what I needed to do. I wasn't the most naturally talented. I had a natural gifting, as in a desire and a work ethic. But anything that I ever did, I had to work at. You know, I wasn't. I always use the same example of Reese Roberts. And John, when I was at Brian Hughes' natural talent, skill, he could. I couldn't even tie his laces. You know, he was that much naturally talented than me. But what I would do is, when everybody else went, Brian let me have a set of keys for the gym, and I stayed behind for an hour. And it was that was the only reason. That was the only way I managed to get everything right, because I had to put hours in, and it paid off. You know, I achieved everything I could do, and more. I achieved more than what my actual ability should have.
And looking at you, you never seemed like you were going to be one of those boxers that became hugely fat in retirement, but you still look in very good shape. What's the plan once things begin to start to return to normality? What are you going to be doing with yourself? What are your ambitions beyond boxing?
Like I said, thankfully I've been smart with my money, and I don't have to, you know, go out and do something that I don't want to do to bring money in. You know, I'm comfortable, and I want to stay in boxing. I've been training a few people, coaching a few people. I had a Austrian fighter over. He's a very good fighter. He's back over there at the minute. He's looking to come back out here and base himself here in the new year, obviously depending on what's going on. And also been training a Slovenian female fighter. He used to be based out in Canada. She's 3-0 as a professional at the minute. And again, very dedicated. She was over here for she come over for 3.5 weeks, did some training, and she also wants to come back over here and base herself here now. So it's and don't get me wrong, I've probably been lucky with these two at the minute because they're very dedicated and they remind me of myself, to be honest with you. Do you know how much they want it? And you don't have to, you know, force them into doing anything. You know, they want to do it off their own back. 1 minute. Dog.
Oh.
So yeah. So and I wanted to go there. I wanted to test it because I wanted to see if it's actually what I wanted to do. And like I said, they got in contact with me, and I said, "Come over," and because I wanted to see that, do I enjoy it? And is this the route I want to go down? And when they come over and everything like that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And to be honest with you, I could see the improvements from them from the first, from the day they got here to when they left. So, like I said, I believe I can help in that way and improve people. I believe I've got the eye to be a very good coach. But like I say, I've still got a lot of learning to do, and I've been thankful that when they was over, I was in the gym with Joe, and obviously learning from him and getting advice from him. You can't ask for more.
And you've already got your license, haven't you? Your seconds license.
Yeah, I've already got my seconds license. I've already been and done the. I think it was during this. All this has been going on. I went for my trainer's license, no problem, and then I've just got to go on when everything gets back to normal. I've just got to go on I think it's a 1-day practical thing. No, I've got my first day.
Okay.
It's like a coaching thing, something anyway. So I'll do that. And
good stuff. Now, we've got a big fight coming up this weekend, Dallas, Texas, between Ryan Garcia and Luke Cambell. First of all, I wanted to ask you, you had a lot of big nights in Manchester, including that win over Kiko Martinez, 2 rounds, which very exciting fight. Had the backing of the home crowd and promoter behind you as well. But then you've had big fights in the US as well, for world titles, the featherweight one more recently, where you were certainly not the fan favourite. What difference does that make, especially for a boxer who was at your experience level? Luke Cambell's very experienced, but will it phase him a bit not having that promotional backing and broadcaster and all that?
In my opinion, no. I think obviously Luke Cambell, with what he's already done in his career so far, the experience he's got from being as an amateur and obviously what he's done as a professional, I don't think it'll phase him one bit. And I think, if anything, he strikes me as the type of person that will thrive off, that I don't think he'll get sidetracked by any way. I think since he's linked up with Shane McGUIGAN, I think that's a great partnership that they've got going. Them two, I rate Shane McGUIGAN highly as a coach. I think the fighters that have been with him have improved. And there's been a couple of fighters that have left him. I'm surprised that they did leave him because I think they gelled well. Obviously, for reasons which way they've parted is, that's the reasons. But as a fighter and a coach, I think his style of training as well really does gel with Luke, and I think he's improved massively under him. And I think if he wasn't with McGUIGAN, I'd probably be siding with Garcia. I think that does. I think the partnership, the way they gelled, I think this really does throw it up as a, and I say a 50-50 fight because Campbell's done a lot more in his career to say, no, this is, obviously look who he's been in with, and even though the 3 defeats he's had, look at the performances he's put up in defeat, but with Garcia, he's not fought anyone of that level, but there must be something special about the kid, because what he's done is so far in his career and who he's been put in front of him, he's dismantled. But also, you're not going to have people invest the time in him like they are doing, with him now being with Eddie Reynoso. There's obviously something there that when we've not seen yet in action. He's obviously capable of big things, and this is the chance. This is a perfect fight for him if he's the real deal. But it's also a perfect fight for Luke if he's not the real deal. This also catapults Luke even further up.
Yeah, I mean, like you point out, Garcia's team clearly back him highly. He's with Eddie Reynoso just recently. Yep. He's got Golden Boy behind him, who you know well. And the fact that they're pitching him in with Campbell quite early in his career as well shows the faith that they've got in him. A lot of people thought he'd avoid that fight. Have you been impressed with Garcia so far from what you have seen? I know he's not fighting anyone brilliant, but does he pass the eye test?
Yeah, definitely, because you can't fault what he's done. It's very hard to pick a fault with what he's done. He's been just blasting everyone out, but not doing it in an unpleasant way. He's been doing it in a good, cool, calm, and it's been looking good. So you can't not be impressed by him. And I think people, obviously with the social media following he's got and everything that's the media that are attached to him and everything, is the full package. Now, I think some people, because he's a good-looking kid, he's got a bit like a young De La Hoya.
Yeah.
He's got all the publicity from different, not just sport, out of sport, so that he's got a lot of limelight on him. And I think people question, can he really fight? Because of, obviously, you see what he's doing. He can obviously fight, but you can get, is he being hyped up more because of the social media and everything else surrounding it? Because he's the full package, But to me, he can fight, and he's got a bright future ahead, very bright. But I think this is the perfect fight for him if he is the real deal, and also for Campbell if he's not the real deal.
If you were forced to make a pick, and I know you're not a gambling man at all, but if you were forced to, if it was your last quid, who would you go for on Saturday night?
If only due to the hype around him, I feel like there must be something special about the kid, because you don't have this machine behind you and this big, so much media attention if you're not the real deal. But I think the longer the fight goes, and I think I don't know. I think Campbell's got a very, very good chance. I really do. I think the longer the fight goes, I think that favours Campbell massively.
You've
So I'm
kind
going
of
to stick.
talked yourself out of a prediction then, haven't you?
No. I'm not. I'm going to stick my neck on the line. Um, and this isn't who I just want to win, but now I think if he gets it right, I think Campbell can win it on points.
Good stuff. Well, Scott, really appreciate it. It's great to hear that you're going into training. Can't wait to see the fighters you bring through. Just another it's the legacy continuing, isn't it? Because obviously Joe Gallagher came from that Phil Martin school, and now there's you, Anthony Croller's training fighters now as well. And it's just great to see.
And I train an amateur kid as well, Alfie Middlemiss. He's definitely going to be one to watch because he's very, very dedicated, and he does remind me of myself. The way he doesn't care about anything else. Just everything he wants to do is boxing. But yeah, he's going to be a good kid.
Great stuff. All right, well, hopefully we'll catch up again in the new year and we can talk about some of your prospects getting out there and who you've taken on.
Yep. Nice talking to you.
And you, mate. Take care. Good to see you.